Hello, my friends. I'm the Wolfman, Dale Wolfley, and I'm coming at you from the second layer of the Wolf's Den. I hope this is a happy Monday for you. Probably feeling a little bit hungover from the weekend of the Mountaineers losing to Texas Tech down in Lubbock to the Red Raiders, and I certainly understand that, and I feel a little bit of that as well. But like the team is, the game is over. Sunday, yep, I sat there and watched the Mountaineers and broke down the film. And what I saw is I see a lot of good stuff. I see some bad stuff, some stuff that is, it's almost there, but they're not quite there. It's that two steps forward, one step back. What I've been talking about as a young team and where they're headed and where they're going. And are all the pieces of the puzzle there for this Mountaineer football team? No, they're not all quite there yet, but they are making moves, and I like the way this team hangs together. They are not getting down. I saw them yesterday at the testing. I talked to some of the guys, and they're feeling good. There's still 5 games left to be played, my friends. 5 games, and it can mean a lot. When you're 3-2 overall, you're 2-2 in the Big 12. 5 games can mean a lot. Okay, it's not over by any means. Don't get down. The sky is not falling. Even though it is pretty dreary here on Monday morning in Motown, Morgantown. But listen, I'm going to tell you, I watch this team, just about on an everyday basis. And I watch the practice, and I watch the game film. I'm just constantly involved in the numbers, the stats, right? I mean, it's just endless notes. What I do is I follow this team and I'm watching it. It says we're the halfway point to the season. And again, like I said, Mountaineers are 3-2 overall. And I'm seeing some spots really grow. And we're going to break it down here in a little bit to go over it. But let's hit this game. Before I do that, this is the Wolfman Ramble. This is where we review the previous game. And because now we've hit the midpoint mark of the season, I'll probably give you some 5-game stats. And when I look at that, I'm going to say, there's good improvement in a lot of areas. And we've had some fun. We've had some excitement watching this team. And when you know that some of these guys that you're like, man, he just jumped off sides, or what's he doing with that penalty play? Or what's going on? But they're going to be around for a few more years because it's a youthful team. So get used to these guys, stand behind them. I know I certainly am. And I want to get to this Kegler Sports Bar and Grill that presents the Wolfman Ramble. So obviously what you probably noticed by now if you've been following, it's Monday night. That means Monday Night Football, and it's beat the clock for wings night. 3 to 6, it's 57 wings. 6 to 9, it's 60-cent wings. And 9 to close, it is 70-cent wings. Man, wings. Award-winning wings, right? The gold sauce, the award-winning gold sauce. You don't know what the secret sauce is, man, because it's gold. It's got the same sauce they put on the Wolfman burger, man. Yeah, man, that big dog juicy burger, right? Great food at Kegler Sports Bar and Grill. In fact, I had a steak. I think I put that out on social media on Thursday night at the Neil Brown show. And man, was it big and thick and tasty. And I had mushrooms, and I had onions and peppers, and it was good. It stuff has some asparagus on the side. So I'm getting my vegetables in there because John Antonik, our football and WVU historian for athletics, always is telling me I don't eat enough greens. Well, Johnny, I'm eating enough greens, and I'm doing what I need to do because I am excited about the future of this Mountaineer football team. Don't tell me about the skies falling. Don't tell me about it. I'm not going to go there. But let's get it done here. So you got wing night here tonight, Monday night, for Monday Night Football. Tuesdays, you got $2 tacos. And I tell you what, I crushed those tacos last week. I forgot to go get them, but I'm going to go get them tomorrow. $2 tacos. You got chicken, pork, and beef, I should say. Beef. Unbelievable. I tried all of them twice. And they were so good. Oh, then you got Wednesday night is a baby back rib special. This is all dine-in, by the way, if I forgot to tell you. Baby back ribs, $10.90. All you can eat. This is all 5 to 7 too, man. Baby back ribs, man. Come on, get in there and eat them and just enjoy. And then, of course, Thursday nights for the Neil Brown Show from 5 to 7, you have half-price appetizers. Well, and the Neil Brown Show is 6 to 8, and it's in the clubhouse. It's also upstairs as well, that they get the exclusive live video feed from Coach Brown and TC broadcasting on the radio and on all the apps that we have here for Mountaineer Nation out there at Milan Pushkar Stadium. But the exclusive live video feed comes right into Kegler's. And man, we have a good time there. I mean, the first beer is on me. You have to say, hey, first beer's on WolfMan. You can't come in and say, you know, WolfMan sent me, because now they know that trick, all right? But no, you can get your first beer being in a bottle, draft, can, whatever it may be. But you only get one beer. But you also get to purchase the award-winning food, which is always a great price, great deal. Best food you get. I mean, you get the Wolfman burger, for crying out loud. What more do you want, right? The Wolfman burger, you got wraps. If you're a vegetarian, they got salads. I think they got like salads, all kinds of stuff. They got the, all kinds. I mean, I'm gonna not even get into that. But, you know, then on Fridays, we're gonna get back to Neil Brown Show, but on Fridays, they have half price happy hour from 3 to 6, and all alcohol is half price. So that's pretty darn good. Sundays for NFL football, they have $1 off each wing order. But getting back to the Neil Brown Show, I was telling you the exclusive feed, video feed coming into Kegler's. You can watch it. You can also participate, ask Coach Brown a question. It's at the top of the hour, the 7 o'clock hour. And as long as it's a good question, as long as you're good to me and it makes sense, I'll put you on the air and you can ask Coach Brown right on the radio. That's pretty cool as well. And then they have great raffle prizes. I think Dougie said he was going to give away a football helmet. Now, this is my football helmet from back in the days. I don't know if you noticed this, but there's a lot of rifles on there. What do you call it? The musket, right? The musket. I always call them rifles, but everybody else called them muskets. Took a lot of heat for that one time. I put that out there saying rifles. So it's muskets. Muskets. But we're going to raffle off a helmet. And we always got a ton of hats, polos, everything official WDU gear. Now let's put that back there because that, maybe we treat well. So we go ahead and we look at, we got all the special Neil Brown, and you can get raffle off prizes. You don't even have to win by trivia. It's just a raffle. You got a ticket. You get a free beer from me. You get to purchase award-winning food. You get to listen to Coach Brown and TC, Tony Caridi, host that. And what else? Oh, and you get to ask a question if you know, you get a football mind. I like that very much. So, Kegler Sports Bar and Grill, great supporters of the Mountaineers. It's the place where Mountaineers go to watch Mountaineers. How can you beat that? Okay, so let's get into this Texas Tech, and let's do the ramble, and we'll go forward and talk about the game. Let's start out offensively. The Mountaineers, Jared Deggy threw for 347 yards. We rushed the ball for, I believe it was, wait, let me get this. We rushed the ball for, let's see, 91 yards. Not great. We only gave up 1 sack, so that was only 5 yards against it, averaging about 3 yards per rush. Now, let's break down this rush that we're talking about in this game, because what I want to say is that I've seen the offensive line doing some good things, really doing some good things. And if you didn't notice, in that offensive line, you had left guard, Zach Frazier, the freshman, was rotating with redshirt sophomore James Gmitter, the left guard. So he is back. He, of course, had to sit out a couple of games. He is back now, and they're rotating in. So that was nice to see that, because that was 6 offensive linemen actually working for the 5 there. And I think it did help. Now, when I was watching a lot of that offensive running, there was more than the offensive line at times that broke down. I could go over wide receivers. I could go over the tight ends. I could go over running back. I could go over the quarterback, because when you have a read zone, sometimes you got to pull that ball and not just hand it off when a defensive end is coming around and just zoned in on the running back. That's what the read zone is there for. Remember the Baylor game when Jared Deggy actually pulled it off from Letty Brown on the 2-yard line, and Jared Deggy walked in for the touchdown against the Baylor Bears? Yeah, that's the read zone. And so when you put the run game on to the Mountaineers on Saturday night, and I'm talking about Saturday night because the team has been rushing well for the most part. So I would say a Saturday night, the run game was not executed well because of the offense, not just anything. But again, you have Letty Brown, who's just really running hard and doing what he can to make every yard count. And I see a lot of effort by everybody. I just don't see it as always in the right place at the right time. And I'm going to go to this as well. I'm seeing 10 guys doing what they're supposed to do, and one guy, and it's all different guys all throughout the game. That's the problem. But one guy is not doing what he's supposed to be doing and messing up. And thus, you're not getting the rushing yards last Saturday, 2 days ago, that you wanted to do. They still are averaging 3 yards in the game. It wasn't awful. It wasn't good either. So that's nice. You want to get 4 yards per rush. Letty Brown averaged 4 yards per rush Saturday night in the game. But what I want to see about Letty Brown, let's look at Letty Brown. He had 7 receptions. Yeah, 7 receptions. That was really, really good when you think about it. And he had some key receptions as well. I mean, if you take that 24-yard one that he got for the touchdown, that was a holding call on John Hughes. So they brought that back. That was another 24 yards. But Letty was number 2 in the team with receptions with 7 receptions for 47 yards. That doesn't even count. So he would have had over 68, 70 yards receiving and a touchdown receiving as well. I mean, he already has 9 touchdowns this season. So that in itself, that's 54 points. He leads the team in points. That is really good. And Letty Brown, I want to tell you something. I'm seeing a lot of good stuff out of him. He's running hard. He's seeing things. I like his vision. When he sees the vision, he does the vision. And that's what has been lacking before for Letty, in my opinion, overall. But being in the second year in the system, he is coming around. Let's break down this offensive line now. You want to talk about the offensive line. They have 1 sack against Texas Tech, and it was redshirt freshman Brandon Yates, the left tackle, who I think is just getting better and better and better, and he's getting a little bit of this goo in his neck. I always thought he was talented. He has footwork. He can move his big old body at 6'4", 307 pounds. He can move, man, right? He's like a big dancing bear. But I didn't know he always had that pop to him to get off, and you don't necessarily have that right off the bat as an offensive lineman, but you learn it and you develop it. And that's why so many times you see the redshirt freshmen and true freshmen aren't playing because they don't have that pop. Well, it's also because they don't have the strength, right? I mean, if you're a 21-year-old man or 22-year-old man, a 5th-year guy, say on the defensive line, or it doesn't matter, but if you're a defensive freshman going against a 22-year-old offensive lineman, it does not matter whatsoever. But again, as you're missing 4 years of strength training in a Division I system, it makes a huge difference. And I'm going to say it when you see Brandon Yates, and he's starting to get a little bit nasty, a little bit physical. And I have to wonder if that's because of his partner there on the left side, which now his other partner is James Gamitter, who I just call he's a baller. He's just a ball player. You know, James Gamitter, I really like him as well. But Zach Frazier came in as a freshman and made all the surprise for me. And I know I was a freshman All-American as an offensive lineman, and I know how tough that is. I was a redshirt freshman, and it was tough, man. And I struggled, and I was hanging on like crazy, hanging on for my dear life at times. There's no doubt about it. But what I see from those two on the left side, you'll see a lot of times they're running towards the left side because they're that physical, and probably because defenses aren't expecting a team that's naturally, you think they're right-handed, so you run more to your right side. So Brandon Yates is coming along very well. I'd say Zach Frazier is coming along very, very good. James Gamitter, who again is rotating in there, or at least in the last game, was coming along. They had to take off those couple games due to the COVID, and that he announced himself. So not going down that road. but he was really moving on, coming on strong. And then, of course, he had that break. Now you move to Chase Barrett. Now, Chase Barrett, for the last few weeks, has been playing really, really well, really good. And I want to add that to right guard, Mike Brown. Those are the two seniors that have really stepped up here and has really become the team the offensive line leaders here. And then you have junior tackle, John Hughes. Now, if you look at John Hughes, he came from Texas, and he was from a junior college. And, you know, he's just starting to get his strength as well. Because in junior college, I was a head coach at junior college. They don't have the D1 strength programs that the D1 is. I mean, they just don't have it, so you don't get the benefits when you're junior college of coming out as a junior. So in reality, he's probably a year behind in his strength, and he's getting better as well. So the offensive line is getting better. Again, they only rush for 29. They rushed 29 times for 91 yards. At times, I saw this offensive line tear up that defensive line in that box for Texas Tech. I really did. And I've seen a lot of good things. And I'll put that in the Wolf Stand on TV. I will highlight that. But I just want to make sure that everyone knows that the rushing attack is not just the offensive line, because I think that is something that is often misunderstood, because wide receivers are involved in that, tight ends, blah, blah, blah. There's also, you know, you have run pass options, and you got to make the correct call on that for the run pass options as well. So put your offense in a position, a good position, and maybe not one that might be harder by going the other direction, whether it be throwing it or running, depending on what the defense gives you. Run pass option, RPO. So anyways, that is our rushing game. Let's talk about the passing game. Well, I'll tell you what, there's no way I'm giving up on these receivers, because these receivers are open. They're at times making very good catches and at times making poor catches. You know, Coach Wallace on the radio on our MSN Sports from Learfield IMG College, we kept talking about pulling the ball in with your hands, the strength to pull it in. And it did not seem like they were catching it, and then they were dropping it on their way down in some direction. Now, you know, that could be, and I was listening to Coach, and it was starting to make some sense. But the idea is this, is that you can't let yourself as a unit, the wide receivers as a unit, sit there and be like, oh, we got the drops. No, that's not it. You got to fight every day. Now, after the game, Coach Brown was talking about that they check and record how many catches they catch and how many catches or how many passes they drop during the week of practice. And this was the highest percentage of receptions in practice that they've had. So it's not that they're not practicing it. It's not that they're not trying. It's just sometimes you run into some bad luck. Now, it's going to have to stop. It's halfway through the season. Those freshmen, those young guys, you're not so young anymore. You're not so freshman anymore. I say now it's time to say, listen, the youth is over. Time to start executing. Quarterback, make sure those throws are there on time, the right decision, not overthrown, not underthrown, but a pass that is catchable. And that's how the two work together. And of course, the offensive line then has to go ahead and provide what? Protection. So it all works simultaneously together, because if the quarterback's under pressure, sometimes the throws become short or long because he's hurried or he doesn't have his fundamentals, his mechanics of throwing the ball underneath him because he's moving. And so that's how the whole offense has to execute. Now, the offense, let's look at it. Saturday night, well, they put up a total of, let's see here, total offense was 438 yards to Texas Tech's 348 yards. So that they put up 90 more yards. When they're in the red zone, okay, they were 3 of 3 for scoring touchdowns in the red zone, because that's what you want to do. You want to score touchdowns. So for the season, they are, I believe, let's see. So they were 14. They were 17 of 21 in the season. That makes them like 80%. Okay, I think it's something like that. 80% scoring touchdowns in the red zone. That's crazy, man. That's crazy good. Absolutely crazy good. So I know that they're doing it, and there's a reason why is because the short yardage and the red zone running is pretty good on there because the offensive line is moving the defenders out. They do have a physicality to them that they've developed. Just because they didn't have a great night Saturday night doesn't mean that they have not been developing this running game. They're still averaging 170 yards rushing per game. That is not bad. And of course, Chiradegi threw for 470 yards. Now, you go out and you outplay Texas Tech's offense by 90 yards. You think, wow, man, that's not bad. I guess we should have won, right? Well, yeah, they should have won. The Mountaineers should have won. And they know that more than anybody else, especially after they got done watching the film and all the plays that were left out on the field. I can tell you about those drops, man. Some of them wide open for touchdowns. I mean, that's what was at stake there. And that was a great opportunity missed at that point. Now, if you go ahead and you want to go look at the defense and you say, well, the Temple came at them. They weren't surprised by Temple. They knew, the coaches knew, the players knew that Temple was going to get them. But until you actually experience that type of Temple, it takes some time to get used to. And I said in the pregame on the radio, and it's like this. You want to just line up. You got to just correctly line up because you don't know what's going on. They're just going gun, 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 right? What personnel are they in? What formation are they in? What's the down and distance? You got to know all these things. And usually when you're not being rush, you know what's happening. But when you go, okay, right after the next, it is tough. And then all of a sudden you forget your fundamentals. You say, what? What do you mean you forget your fundamentals? Yeah, because you're just trying to line up and take on a play. It's like it's fast, and your brain's trying to cope with it. And eventually you get the hang of it. And what you saw the Mountaineers did in the more towards the second half and, struggled. I mean, listen, this offense was putting up 32 points per game. The Mountaineers gave up 27 on defense. Now, we all know about the scoop and score, but he gave up 27 on defense. That was not awful. Giving up, 348 yards. Giving up 348 yards to this Texas Tech team? Come on now. Now, I don't like the rushing yards that they gave up, which was 186. They were averaging 163. So, again, that's only a couple more carries that could have bounced out there. But they were averaging 310 yards passing, and they only got 169. Now, the thing is that they won. Well, they won by a scoop and score. Really, that is the case. So when you look at that, you break it down and say, we're not getting blown out. We are competitive. This is a competitive football team. And you see that this is Big 12, man. This is Power 5. And you got to be ready to go each and every time. And, I think our young guys, and we have youthfulness on the defense as well. So let's take a look. I mean, when Tony Fields goes down, there was a lot of adversity out there on that field. But I thought the Mountaineers actually played very hard, very physical. I just don't think that they played at times the smartest. And when you think about crucial plays, what's crucial? Well, when you go, was it 4-15 on third downs offensively? And then they go 8 of 16, that's 50%. That's not what you want to be at. And then you go on fourth down, they go 2 of 3. You give up a 3rd and 9 going in, and then you give up a 4th and 11. And the 4th and 11 into the red zone. Now, I'm going to tell you something straight up. I watched that film. That was one heck of a pass and one heck of a catch by the wide receiver. Drayshawn Miller was all over him. I mean, it's hard not to get better coverage without interfering because he was right there. I think that's tough. I mean, sometimes you got to make a play, right? And it seemed on the crucial downs, Texas Tech made the plays both offensively, defensively. Crucial downs. What did I say? Crucial downs. That's third down. When you got to keep the chains moving on offense, or you got to get the opponent's offense off the field. And that's where I think that in the situation, this game Saturday was really the key as to what hurt them. And again, when you go back to the defense, looking at it, you saw that Henry Colombi liked to actually pull the ball down and run, and he was using his legs to get some first down. So that hurt as well. But the effort was there. I thought that Josh Chandler Samito, he's a man. I'm telling you right now, he is a man. Let's look. When I break this down, he was a leading tackler for the team. Tony Fields goes out, and Josh, he had 11 tackles, man. He had 5 solos, 6 assists. That's pretty special. He got moved to middle linebacker, so it was the first play of the second quarter that he got moved, and he was playing middle linebacker, moving out. I mean, it's just so hard when you practice all week long and you're seeing things from a will spot or any position. We're over here doing something here all week long, and then you get placed over here in game time. It happened to me one time when I was playing offensive guard against Boston College. Mike Compton broke his leg, I think halfway through the first quarter. I got switched over to center. Never played center in my life. Center, I was a guard. Unbelievable, right? But no, you got to do it, man. You got to go. They say get over there and snap the ball. Wolf, get over and snap the ball. You're like, okay, I get over and snap the ball. And that's what you do. Well, that's what Josh Chandler Samito did. And he had 11 tackles. He played his butt off, his can. I mean, dude's a baller, man. Dude's a baller. He's tough. Hats off to him, man. I really enjoyed what I saw and watched him. And I looked at X-Ray, came in there to fill in. Will and X-Ray played tough, and Sean Mahone was tough. And when you look at it and you see, I thought Darius Stills had 7 tackles. I'm sorry, Dante Stills. Get confused. Had 7 tackles and he had a sack. And I thought he was playing strong for most of the game. It was nice to see him come out. I thought he had a pretty decent game. Now remember, the Mountaineers got 2 sacks, but they pressured him quite a bit. I thought we let the quarterback out, Colombi, out a little bit too much to scramble, but that's not all on the defensive line whatsoever. That is on the defense, period. But I like the pressure they put on. This offensive line only gave up 3 sacks in 185 attempts previous to Saturday night's game. And the Mountaineers got 2 sacks and a whole bunch of pressure. And I certainly know that you look at a quarterback, Colombi, and he was sore yesterday. I guarantee you that. And here's the thing. Nobody has seen Colombi on offense for a whole game this year, or any year for that matter, because this was his first start. And when you look at that, defensive coordinators are going to have an advantage now, seeing that what his strengths and his weaknesses are. And so they'll be able to gear the game plan towards that. So when I look at that, I'm saying, a tough situation for the Mountaineers. They came out, they did execute enough to win the game. But again, the Mountaineers only gave up 348 yards, and it was a scoop and score that won the game for them. When you go back to Oklahoma State, what was that? That was a scoop and score that put the game up, 20-14. And then at the very end, they got the touchdown. But the game was in contention up until 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And again, that was because they were ahead and a scoop and score. So I am not going to sit here and get down on this team. There are 5 games left. 5 games. And I think that it's extremely, extremely important that us as fans don't get down on this team. They are young. They are youthful. If you want to go back to 1987, I know that's probably a lot of you. That's before your time. I'm an old dude. But we had Major Harris. He was a redshirt freshman quarterback. I was a redshirt freshman. I came in with Major. We both redshirted together. And we went 6-5 that year. Took Syracuse, who went to the Sugar Bowl at the last game of the season, took them down to the very last play of the game. Could have won that game as well. But the next year, obviously, we all know what happened. We went 11-0 regular season with that team. This is what you're going to see with these guys getting this type of experience. I've taken phone calls. I've taken text messages this weekend about, what's going on. I thought they're supposed to be the team. Well, we are a good team. We're competing. We are going up. taking 2 steps forward, as I said, 1 step behind. We are going up. Don't tell me. I'm going to tell you this right now. Men lead. Leaders lead. And I'm talking about football here. Women lead. Okay, let's not going to get into that. I'm talking football. Men lead. And I'm telling you right now, I'm going to stand up and say that this team, I know this team. I'm with them all the time. I watch them every day. This team is doing a lot of great things internally, and they're competing. Right now, they got to find ways to win. And they've done some, and they've not done some. But it's going to get better, folks. It's going to get better. I am telling you right now, it's going to get better. How do I know that? Because I know what works, and I see talent. We have talent. We need some more pieces in the puzzle to be an overall team, but we have talent. Let me ask you this. When the Mountaineers went out and defeated Clemson 70-33, I believe that is, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm sure you will, but 70-33 set the record for BCS scoring all time. Who's the head coach? Well, it's Dabble Sweeney. There's no better example of you got to put in your time before you have great success. Well, that means that you got to put in the time to recruit, and you need more than one dang a year. Okay, you need more than one dang recruiting class. Well, he has 2 now coming in, but half of it was not even. You could argue about that, but right now I see that he's got some really incredible freshmen. I see some really incredible redshirt freshmen. I see some incredible sophomores. Okay, now we just got to keep filling up each class by class by class. But it takes hard work. And when you didn't start out with that, and you're rebuilding, it takes hard work. And every coach, every assistant there, every staff member, everybody, even me, who sits out there and does nothing but promote WVU football and WVU athletics, even me working the brand, because we want these recruits to come here to WVU. We want them to come in here. We don't want them to go anywhere else. We want them here. And if we get them on campus, we usually have a decent shot at them, because we all know what a wonderful place this university and this athletic department and this football team is. And that's what they need. And all of us can play a part. If you are sitting there and you know that there's a recruit out there, and there's people around talking, talk up the Mountaineers, man. Talk them up. It is a great place. It is wonderful. We know we got great home stadium advantage because the fans are crazy. You got great support. We know that we're the only team in town, meaning in the state. We're the only team there. I'm not even going to go the other direction down south, but we know that. So everyone else needs to know that as well. And that's what we all need to preach. I don't need to preach to you about that whatsoever, but I'm telling you this: do not get down. Do not do anything but trust the climb, because you got to be a leader and you got to stand up for principle. And I'm telling you, I'm standing up on principle. I'm standing on the desk, Coach Brown, the staff, because he's in his 2nd year, man. He's only halfway through the season. You're going to see a lot more football for the left. So I don't want to take any more texts. I don't want to take any more calls. I'm not going there. If you want to be down or whatever, because we have 2 losses to 2 teams that are Power 5, that are, have tradition. I guess you didn't know this, or maybe you don't know this, but Texas Tech, is in top 25 all time in bowl games. So I guess they don't suck, period. And they have Division I football players, just like the Mountaineers and just like everybody else in Power 5. So when I look at this, I'm going to say, let's go to the season stats a little bit. Excuse me. And I'm going to say this is, when you look at these stats, I would take the EKU game and probably, you can do whatever you want, throw them out. But anybody could do that plays a FCS championship team. So you had the 4 games, but you got Tony Fields. By the way, Tony Fields hit. I don't know. I don't know what targeting is. If Tony Fields' penalty was a targeting penalty, I don't know what it is. So I'm just going to admit I don't know what it is, because you're going to take out your leading tackler in the team because of that play. I mean, it was so lame that nobody even noticed anything. Then all of a sudden they call it targeting in the beginning of the second quarter. I mean, usually when you saw targeting, you know, people are like, "Oh wow, that could be targeting." It wasn't that. It was like, what? What do you mean targeting? Where did this come from? And then all of a sudden he's out of the game. Absolutely crazy. So I didn't think that was the right call, but it is what it is. We'll go with that. Uh, so with Tony Fields, really has been an inspiration coming out. He missed probably 10 days of camp. Uh, it's unbelievable when you think about what he's done. He has a sack, he has an interception, fast breakup, a bunch of TFLs. He's sideline to sideline. Well, what I think he really does is that he compliments Josh Chandler Tomato, who has really been picking up his game because he's getting used to Tony Fields, and the two really are working well together. Well, all that stems from one place, man. That's the defensive line. And what I've been saying is that when you take the leader of the defense line, and that's got to be Darius Stills, right? And Darius Stills is causing so much disruption up the middle and on run plays and penetrating, because they're playing 2-eye, 3 techniques, 4-eye. That's all edges in the gaps, all working the gaps so it can explode through the gaps, not going head up on an offensive lineman, because, and they're doing all these twists and penetration because that's what they do on defense, and that's the exploding part. And this is allowing the defensive line to make plays in the backfield. And what's happening is that we have 11 solid, good football players playing football on defense, and 10 of them are benefiting because Darius Stills is causing disruption up the middle on runs and collapsing the pocket in the pass. And of course, he's helped by his brother Dante, and of course, he's helped by Jeffrey Puller. But they're really benefiting because Darius is such a disruption, taking up 2 offensive linemen, taking up, sometimes getting triple teamed. But whatever that is that's Darius. And, you know, he, once again, he just keeps playing hard. I really love what he's doing. And I just said that Dante had a nice game against Texas Tech. I thought that was his better game that he's played this year. And Jeffrey Puller coming off 2 sacks in the last game, and he caused a fumble this game against Texas Tech. Really doing something special. And then, of course, you have Jared Bartlett, who was just named in the All-American watch list by the Football Writers Association of America, right? So you have him. You have Brandon Yates. You have an offensive line. You got Zach Frazier on the offensive line. And you have, of course, our sack leader, Akeem Mesidor, who has 4 sacks. He had 2 the last game as well, back-to-back, mind you. So talking about young guys and youth, and they're going to be around for a while. Yeah, that's what you're seeing here. So again, I think Darius Stills is providing great senior leadership for that defensive line and for the whole defense as well. And then you have to look, you know, in the secondary and say that Tyke Smith is really being a leader out there, making great plays. He has come on, obviously, making the interception against Baylor in the overtime. That was crunch time. That's called making plays, right? When we talk about at crucial times and making the plays, there's Tyke making plays. And he started off the game against Texas Tech with a big TFL right off the bat, set the tone. And looking at that, and you say Alonzo Adai, what a special addition that was. He's always the big hit guy from the secondary coming. He's going to make a big hit. And then you take a look and you see him with 2 interceptions. And then you got Mahomes and Sean. He's playing extremely well. He was 3rd on the team in tackles Saturday. Just playing tough, coming in from that safety spot, running downhill, covering the receivers, doing a very nice job. And of course, our 2 corners, you know, Nick Troy Fortune. Texas Tech tried 1 long pass against them with their best receiver. No, wasn't happening. They didn't even really want to test him. And of course, you got Drayshawn Miller, who, even though it's his first year with the Mountaineers, you know, he is an older guy and he's playing exceptionally well. I like what I see with our secondary. They're coming together. They're gelling. The whole defense really is doing pretty darn good. I sure would like to see them again the second time against a Temple Texas Tech team once they understood the tempo, because you saw it towards the second half they were shutting them down and they weren't getting very much. So I think they grew during the game and understood a bit. Then you go and you look at the offensive side. Well, Letty is averaging, he's averaging 5 yards per carry per rush, and no, I'm sorry, I think that's 6 yards per rush. Letty Brown is 6 yards per rush. He's averaging 118 yards per game. Alex Dingfield is averaging 4.5 yards per rush, about 43 yards per game. Didn't happen on Saturday. So they're doing well there. Offensive line is averaging 4.5 yards per rush overall. Still, that's better than average. Okay, they're still doing good. And again, that's like 170 yards per game rushing. So they're a lot better than what they were last year picking up. Jared Deggy just threw the ball for 347 yards, averaging about 65% completion percentage. He has 9 touchdowns or 3 interceptions. He's going ahead. And if I could tell you what, man, if you looked at the few times that he had a bad pass here or there, or the times that a pass was dropped, I mean, he might be throwing for 80% completion percentage. I mean, it's really could be a lot more, could be very substantial. And I just think that it's truly, it's there, man. Again, we're almost there. It's like reaching, and not getting it, just it falling back, getting up there and then falling back. Well, we're going to get up there. We're going to keep climbing, and we're going to stay up there. And it just takes time. And then when you look at the wide receivers, Winston Wright Jr., he is leading the team with 28 receptions at 13 yards per catch, average about 72 yards per game. But I said this in the beginning of the year. What did he have Saturday? He had 9 receptions. Where's that? 9 receptions for, I want to say 129 yards, something like that. Made some crucial catches. He was on the 4th down, came over, took the snap from the snapper, got the first down on 4th down. That was a crucial play. On special teams, I see him on the punt team, the punt cover team. He is the first guy down, causing the opponents to either, do a fair catch or he's making a tackle. It really is nice. I'm seeing him. He's hungry for success. And again, you can see that in fall camp. You can see it. He was ready, that he came prepared for this season. So that's nice to see. And I see Bryce Ford Wheaton growing. He has the most touchdowns with 3 on the season thus far. He is doing a great job. It's too bad that TJ Simmons was injured, and because I thought he was starting to really come along, but get him back hopefully in the season. And when you look at who else is Sean Ryan, I started to notice a little bit here come out and play the last game, and Sam James. He had 5 receptions, 56 yards. He made some nice receptions in that game. Unfortunately, a fumble. Guys, I'll tell you what, how many people fumble a ball? Come on. Sam James is a talent, and he just needs to keep going, keep working. He's going to be just fine. Use that speed and just keep going and get better, man. So, again, look at this team. I'm seeing good stuff. Good stuff is coming. I'm standing up. I'm standing on the desk for him, standing on the table, because that's what leaders do. And I've always been a leader, always been a captain. Every team I've been on, always been a captain. And when you see something and you need to stand up for those guys because you need to hang together, they need to hang together and know that they are getting better. Whether they have a step backwards, it doesn't matter. They did a lot of good things. They could have won that game against Texas Tech. Could have won the game against Oklahoma State as well. They could be, and it's a stretch. They could be 5-0. Could be 5-0 instead of 3-2. But the reality is they're 3-2. So where do you go from now? Well, you got Kansas State coming up. If you can win that game, man, you're back in it, and you're ready to go. So, all right, my friends, that is WolfMan Ramble, presented by Kegler Sports Bar and Grill. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you're liking this stuff. I'm enjoying just sitting here talking to you. you know, and I do know that they go a little bit longer at times, but you know, you sometimes just got to talk football. Just talk football. Watch what you can watch. Don't watch what you don't want to watch. That's what I say. That's what I do. Let's go, Mountaineers. Getting better, baby. Keep it coming. Boom.